Jesus has gone too far. Something needs to be done to stop this lawbreaker before he corrupts the entire religious establishment. Jesus needs to be put on trial for these actions that he has done. Who would like to place the first charge against this man?
I have an accusation about Jesus. I personally have observed Jesus hanging out in the presence of the worst scum of earth. I saw him invite a tax collector to become his disciple. And then this sinner, a man named Levi, left his tax booth and followed Jesus. That very evening, Jesus ate at Levi's house. This is inexcusable. A tax collector cannot follow a rabbi. They are not fit for any kind of religious service. Because these tax collectors are unclean. They're as unclean as adulterers or prostitutes or selfish people. Their uncleanliness would obviously come off onto Jesus, making Jesus unclean. Jesus is especially unclean because he ate with these sinners. Sharing a meal is a demonstration of intimacy. It is as though Jesus was treating these rejects as family. Plus, we all know that a tax collector like Levi would never be able to prepare food following the proper religious rituals. When Jesus ate that food, it corrupted his organs with filth.
Can you defend these actions, Jesus?
It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. I ate with these men and women because isn't that what a follower of God is supposed to be doing? If a doctor refuses to see sick people, you might consider him a good doctor because everyone around him is healthy. But is he really doing any good? I'm here to make a difference.
I have another grievance against Jesus. Jesus ignores important religious practices. As a good Pharisee, I fast every single week because I want to focus upon God. I've been watching Jesus, and he hasn't fasted this week, and neither has his disciples.
But how could my disciples possibly fast? Fasting is a time of repentance or of mourning, or as a preparation for some kind of trial. My disciples have no reason to be mourning because the bridegroom is here. Fasting would just be out of place.
But Jesus, even when you do eat, the way you do it is wrong. Don't you remember walking through the grain field on the Sabbath? The fourth commandment is very clear. Observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy, as the Lord your God has commanded you. But your disciples picked grain and ate it while in that field. Surely you won't try to defend yourself from such a blatant disregard for the ways of God.
Don't you know the story of King David? David ate the bread that only priests were allowed to eat. He desecrated the offering to God by allowing it to be eaten by his men. All of his men were fighters, not priests. So why wasn't this a sin? Because the law is for man's good. If good can be accomplished for people by violating the law, then it should be done. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. It is not meant to limit us, but to assist us.
Don't pretend you know scriptures better than us. I was in the synagogue last Sabbath and I saw what you did. I saw what you did to that man with the shriveled hand. You weren't provoked in any way, but you created the situation all by yourself. That poor cripple was violated by your actions. What happened? Jesus made that poor man reach out his deformed hand, and it was instantly healed. No. Yes, and it was on the Sabbath.
Is it better to do good or to do evil on the Sabbath? I may be working at healing on the Sabbath, but I am working for the interest of life and health. You accuse me of wrong, but you are also working. You are working against me. working for death and destruction.
Blah.
So the Pharisees left Jesus, and they found people who had political power. And then they plotted to murder Jesus for his crimes.